It's another great day at Gen Con, and we're here, and we got to do a new entry in a very popular series. The Pandemic line, we talked about this on our news, but they announced Pandemic Rapid Response. This is actually going to be a Target sort of exclusive, or at least early, partial exclusive, but they are selling it here and had demos, and we got to try it out.
Yeah, so this is a real-time game. You still take turns, it's turn-based, but the entire time you're playing, there's a sand timer, and if it runs out, you gotta flip it, and if it flips too many times, you don't have any time tokens left, you'll lose the game. Very different from regular Pandemic gameplay. In this one, you're all on an airplane, and you're trying to deliver medicine and supplies to countries that need them to solve their contagion, what have you. So you're going around to different areas of the ship, and on your turn, you can roll all your dice. Everybody has their own set with the same sides, however, along with their own special abilities that may activate different sides in different ways. And you get to re-roll them twice normally. You can assign your dice to different areas. For instance, any die can let you move one space on the board. There's a plane that lets you move a plane around. That's literally the plane that you're on. That tells you what country you're next to. And each room of the ship, or most of them, have their own symbols that require different colors, different sides of dice, and that's how you're going to be getting the supplies you need. You have to place enough dice in the right slots to get the cubes that represent those supplies to match what the cards that have the country's needs on them say.
Now, that's easier said than done, because one, as you said,
It wasn't that easy to say even.
it's timed. But when you do, if you're able to get enough dice of combined of players in those, not only it'll say like, okay, you made 2 of the bandage red resource. You then take all those though and roll them, and you see if you actually made any waste. It's pretty much a 50%. Half the symbols have the sort of waste circle on them. If you do, you move up a waste token. If the waste gets too high, you lose. I mean, this is a pandemic. There's got to be at least 5 different ways to lose, of course.
Yeah, you can go to that room, and there is an action where if you put enough dice of different faces, you can lower that waste level.
Right, so it's another sort of resource you have to manage. Now, you've mentioned that countries and cards, and you sort of mentioned the plane, but what's actually happening is sort of the center board is your plane. That's sort of like top down of your plane, but the outer little edge actually has a list of countries. You'll probably recognize them as like South America and Africa are the yellow ones, you know, Europe and North America are blue, so on and so forth. And the plane pretty much is like a little pawn that can move around the board there. And as you draw cards, you will actually see like this is supposed to go to Paris, for example, and it has a bunch of different symbols on them. And depending on how hard of a game you want, you'll have a bigger stack of cards to go through. If you're able to go through all of them and cure them, you have won. But every time you have to flip the timer, you have to add another card. But every time you cure a country, you get another little token to pretty much prolong your inevitable victory or loss.
Right, so it's kind of a hard thing because you need the timer to flip because you need to get all the countries out, but you want to be curing them as fast as they're coming out, because if it gets too crazy, then you can't manage everything. You only have so many people going around trying to fix it all.
We played and we played a very simplified version. I think only 4 of the cards.
Right.
There's also a challenge deck. I can't remember the exact word of it. That every time you flip the timer 2, it's like, oh, you lose a resource of your choice, or this is not working as well. So pretty much hiccups in your plan.
An event deck and sort of.
Yes.
So, like we said, it's very different from traditional Pandemic, but I mean, first, one thing that struck me about this game, we just played a demo, but even the full game on the side of the box is listed as 20 minutes for the time. It's very quick by design, like literally your time, so it has to be quick as you go. And I think that's, you know, cool. It was a fun game, and you're really on your toes trying to figure out, what do I do? What do I discuss? How can I do this efficiently? Because it's turn-based, in a way it's almost harder, unlike some real-time games everyone's going at the same time, because you're also worried about, oh, what am I doing that's taking longer so the next person can't go?
No, and when playing that, I was just like, I'm holding people up because I'm like, this. Oh, no, wait. Oh, do this. And I also had a character who got extra re-rolls, so I'm like, oh, I can keep rolling, and it's just that. So it's definitely a game that I think if you're like to take your time and discuss strategy, you're not going to have that. You really need to be like, we need water. Okay, we need water. Like, there was a point when you can only hold 9 resources, fully, like, fledged resources, and if you get over, you have to discard some. And now there was a point when we had this card one, and we're like, but we need all these resources. So we're like, what are we gonna do? Just do the green. Just do the green.
Right. Eventually, it's like you just got to make a decision, otherwise you're done. So it was cool. It was exciting. If you like Pandemic or don't, you might want to try this because it's just so different. You know, it really is a different beast. They compared it a little bit to Pandemic: The Cure, and I can see that in the sense that there are both essentially dice schemes, but of course that time aspect changes things a lot. Let us know what you think about Pandemic Rapid Response. Respond rapidly. For more Gen Con content, like this video, subscribe to Roll for Crit, and follow us on all our social media platforms.
But if you really need more, you can visit our Patreon. We'll be having a exclusive little Gen Con mini podcast to listen to.
And there's our contest running right now for the Keyforge Age of Ascension set. You can try to win. Find the link in the description down below.